Yep, we are here. We're getting everything together. I still got a couple more things to take care of, but we got to talking about a couple of things here. We're happy that a Kickstarter is doing okay, but in another way, we're kind of disappointed. But we'll talk about that in a moment because it's time for us to say those magic words that we always say here.
Let's get dangerous.
And welcome to another edition of Comic Book Spectrum. I'm Joe D. McPhee here, and we are missing a few people here, but we do have the General himself, the Eric F. Hawkins here.
One day, I'm expecting you to insert Olivia Newton-John there instead and say, "Let's get physical."
Oh, you want me to do that? I can do that. I can get that. I could make sure that happens.
I don't know where Clyde is, but I have my Clyde voodoo doll.
Oh, Emperor Clive.
Yeah. I was going through stuff in the garage. I was like, oh, let me pull that out and put behind me.
Yeah, Emperor Clive of Cliveria. So we got Donna already here, and we got Carl already here, and we saying hi again. We're supposed to be having a special guest. I don't know. Well, there she is. She's hiding. It's
Hi. Can
Hi.
anybody see me?
No, but we can hear you.
The camera's gone. We can only hear you. You said the camera's
Okay,
out.
for some stupid reason, the camera does not have me on. Okay, Control E.
We saw you pop up. Oh, there. Okay. Now
Okay,
we got the other thing.
all right. You still can't see me.
Nope.
Okay, start cam. Nope. All I get is this weird thing.
Yeah, it's not seeing your camera.
Isn't that Cole the Conqueror's little throwing blade? That's what it looks like?
Maybe.
I have nothing like that in my arsenal, so I am still. I'm gonna come out and come back in and see if that helps.
Okay, not a problem.
Okay.
And in that time, we got Sarah walking in here, saying enjoying working at home, be back and forth AFK. Okay, so everybody's greeting one another. So that proves that the comic book spectrum has expanded. We have expanded. So don't be surprised if every so often we get somebody brand new that gets into the clubhouse.
Yep.
But man, I don't know. I'm still kind of disappointed, but we'll wait till Elaine gets back because I think she's
Yeah,
gonna
we
have a
could.
couple of things to say too about what we were talking about before the show.
I'm jonesing for some X-Men 97, though.
Actually, I'm waiting. I'm waiting because I don't know what to really make.
I just
of-
got nothing to watch right now. I mean, I watched the Beach Boys documentary. I watched the Beatles documentary. I'm turning to documentaries again.
Well, again, that's a good sign. Documentaries are good here, but I'm looking at it from a different standpoint. It's like I still got Amazonia number 8 to still draw. I'm still working on Primetime Saturday Night number 5. Now, since I have designed 2 more characters for Primetime Saturday Night, I have to make a decision if I'm going to throw them into the role playing game or not before I publish that. I mean, it's a lot of work. That's including the not safe for work stuff that I've been working on.
That was not safe for work. There was something about that the past few days, wasn't there?
I
Yeah.
forgot who wrote something about it, but
I,
it's
I know where I saw. I didn't see an article. I saw someone post something. They knew another creator who had his campaign closed on Kickstarter, but it was Stripe that rejected it because of the content. And from what I've heard, people talking about it, and everybody's blaming Kickstarter. Well, it wasn't Kickstarter; it was Stripe because they processed the credit cards. And wasn't just not safe for work. I mean, people were talking about from what they saw, there was, I mean, pretty graphic images on the covers and stuff. So, it was almost porn. I mean, I got not safe for work covers right here, but I won't show you.
Yeah.
Not on your show. Which, yes, my books
No,
are
I
here.
have to. If we did it on the show, I would have to not be on Facebook and Twitch.
Mhm.
I might be able to get away with Facebook. Definitely not Twitch.
Mm.
Only reason I say not Twitch is because Twitch does not force people to log in to watch the show.
I see. So I don't know how I get all this goofy stuff on my Facebook. So when you go to Facebook, you're scrolling and you come across
There she is.
the shorts.
She even got her
Facebook.
green screen working.
Sorry. I am forever having issues with my tech.
Oh, that's okay.
You got green screen to work. I'm more impressed by that. It's better than mine. I don't want to like run at a snail's pace for mine.
I could not find the background I wanted, which was one of my variants I did for you. And I didn't want to waste time looking for it in the files, so I just pulled the first thing up.
Well, it worked.
Yeah.
So
But
how are
as-
we?
Are you caught up to where we was at here as far as what we thought about not safe for work? Because Eric was about to say, "Hey, I found this on Facebook." And what were you trying to find? What was coming up on your Facebook?
Oh, so you were saying Facebook would probably block you or you get in trouble on Facebook. Well, of course, I'm not going to find it now because I'm looking. I come across reels. When you come across the reels on your street, I've been coming across. They've been popping up breastfeeding videos.
Mm-hmm.
Half of them are with toy dolls, babies. They're not real babies. They're fake baby dolls. I'm like, I don't get what people do nowadays. I just don't understand. I'm too old.
Well, again, everybody wants to be internet famous.
And now Carl's looking through Facebook. Like, we're breastfeeding. Hold on here.
Oh my goodness! Wow. It's like I should be getting paid for all this week. Gotta finish beta reading a comic as well. Dirt. Great to see you guys. Yep, there's Elaine. Hey, Elaine.
Hey, Carl. Hey, Donna.
Yep.
Hey, Sarah.
I wonder what he's busy cleaning.
Might be his beard if he went and got more ice cream.
He would never live down that picture. I'm telling you. He's not going to live down that picture.
Just remember, Carl, I did not mention the ice
for
cream.
that picture. That was a classic. Oh yeah, but we're glad that you're here, Elaine, because
Definitely.
before the show we was talking about a Kickstarter campaign that, as of right now, I think it's over $1.5 million raised.
Got it
1.3. 1.3. I'm
Yeah.
looking at it. 1.33 here.
Well, it just went up another 10 backers.
Yeah.
Who's Kickstarter?
I'll bring it up here. Because we was talking about how we just got priced out of it because of the simple fact
Skybound
that,
Comics.
yeah.
No one we personally know.
Right. We got priced out of it because, again, being fans of what we are, it's like,
Yeah, but Joe and I have a
we're not
vested
gonna
interest in
spend
the topic.
$300 for a box set. And there it is.
Whoa.
The GI Joe box set, and the box set is the original Marvel Real American Hero set, and it is worthwhile if you're really trying to read GI Joe the full run from beginning to end from the Marvel set, because like Compendium 1 has the first 50. And then the Compendium 2 has 51 through 78, what I hope that is a misprint, that they actually have yearbook 1, but it's saying yearbook 2 through 4, and then special missions 1 through 15. Compendium 3 is issues 79 through 115, and special missions 16 through 28. And then Compendium 4 gives you the end of the G.I. Joe run, from 116 to 155. Then the short-lived G.I. Joe and Transformers, the 4-issue set, of Order of Battle, and G.I. Joe Special 1. So pretty much you're getting every last G.I. Joe book except for yearbook 1 for some reason. So Eric and I was like looking through this. It's like we was up here. It's like, well, Compendium 1, we pretty much both, got most of it. Compendium 2, we pretty much got most of everything there. It wasn't until we get into like Compendium 3 that we're up here like, well, I was like, I might be missing a few issues here. And then Compendium 4 is like, yeah, this is where we kind of fell off. And it's like, is it really worth $300? I mean, even though we're major fans of it, is it really worth $300? Yeah, but $300 for the box set, and it's $120 if you want it in PDF format. But it's still a lot of books, so price per issue is worth it. But when you look at the fact that, well, I still got the majority of these issues that I could actually go and read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now it's almost like it's more like it's a luxury more so than anything else. And then Sarah is saying, creating guidelines for a janitorial position at my AMC location, which does not have one, building it from the ground up. I'm a guinea pig, so I write down every area of the theater to collaborate in meeting. That's interesting. Wow. So they rely on your expertise. I guess. I don't know. Probably getting more into the managerial aspect of AMC at that point.
Well, no, when I was in the Marines, I was at one point the communication clerk in our supply area, and we had these things called lock boxes, and you had to basically inventory them. You had to find out where they were. Our company had, I think, 5, and I had to find out where they all were, and then I had to create a system to catalog every single little thing that was included in a particular lockbox. And some of the things had to be, things like your gauges and stuff. Every year or so, you have to go and have them checked and recalibrated. So and they didn't have all that information cataloged already. So I had to basically create a catalog system for all of that. And it was like, hey, I'm a PFC doing all of this, and don't sergeants handle this? And my commander was like, nope. What's your rank? And I was like, PFC, and goes, you just answered the question. So, it's management if they can get you to do that work at the lower level. And then of course they'll get it, and if the people above them says, oh, that looks really good what you do there, they get up and say, oh yes, I did a really good job, as opposed to, no, actually this person below me came up with this system and put it all together.
Yeah, the difference of them getting praise or you get thrown up under the bus. Again, basically. the military way,
Yes. My heart's going out for you, Sarah.
Yeah, because that's what she was referring to with management. The best compliment of the day. You're the best guinea pig I could ask for per management. Pet me, I laugh. Wow, that is so hilarious. And there's like, wow, Sarah. And then we got David Moore. It's like, the master of all things She-Hulk and Wonder Woman, Joe D. McPhee, burr. Yep, that is me. And well, I'm not going to mention it because we're more about geek talking comic book reviews today as opposed to some of the other stuff that I will talk about on the Saturday show.
It's your show. You can talk about
really
whatever you
cool.
want.
After my, yep. It's like back now. I guess I can't take Donna for ice cream again or confiscate her phone first. Yep. Yep. You can't do that. And then thanks, Elaine. Spot on. Yep. Oh, you sent me a link, knowing good and well that I don't have Facebook open. So let me do this here.
Hey, Leia.
Yeah, we going to take that off for a second here because
Yeah, you better be careful. Check that link before you start showing it.
That's the reason why I came off first to be like, okay, let me go ahead and take it out of public view first before we go into this whole thing about we showed something that we wasn't supposed to show.
Well, hold on. I got to give thanks to Thor's booty cheek.
Yep. See,
Okay.
that's safe. That's safe because why? You want to know why Thor's booty cheek is safe? Because we've been going around saying buy Odin's beard for how long? And a lot of women are going like buy Thor's left booty cheek.
Well, I figure the algorithm won't get mad at booty.
Yep.
They won't get mad at booty. They may have a problem with other words. So I'm trying to be nice and get up and, edit myself.
Exactly. And everybody's greeting one another. And no, I sent you. Oh, yeah, you sent me that earlier today. Yeah, I thought you sent me something new.
Joe, I don't think that's a typo. I was looking to frequently asked questions, and it only includes yearbook 2 through 4.
Oh wow!
So there gotta be some type of legal reason why they can't do yearbook 1. That's weird.
I thought 1 was listed. I thought yearbooks 1 through 4 were listed.
No. It's right here. Yearbook.
Oh, 2 through 4. Okay.
The first yearbook is not listed. Yearbook, the issue 1 of yearbook is not listed. So that's why I'm saying it got to be something legal behind it.
Or maybe there's something with the file. Maybe they've lost part of the file's been corrupted.
Maybe.
Well, that's possible.
So it might not be a legal thing. It may just be, there may be something in the file that they may not. Because understand, at the time they were doing these books, I don't think they were scanning them in computer wise.
Actually, they probably did.
You think so?
Well, yeah. And the reason I say they did is because I can remember older books like Miss Marvel #1, She-Hulk #1 being scanned into a particular zip type file that Marvel was experimenting with trying to sell comic books via computers.
Okay.
So it's a good possibility that it could be a corrupted file in that aspect. But then again, you have a master file copy too, a physical master file copy too, that could have been corrupted. Could have been damaged or whatnot.
Yeah, depending on the printing, if it's too dark, too light, or whatever, it may not come through. No, I actually never read the G.I. Joe comics. I was more of a Sergeant Rock fan. When I did pick up those types of comics, I either got Sergeant Rock or before he became Commander Fury, he was Sergeant Fury.
With the Howling Commandos. With our boy Dum Dum Dugan.
I was getting comics in the 60s and the 70s. So, there were first World War II Sergeant Rocks and Sergeant Fury, and then, of course, the Vietnam era ones. So those are the ones I tended to have read for the most part when I did read them. I didn't read a lot. But occasionally they would show up. I'd be downtown at the Joe will know this place. What used to be the main library downtown when they had the guy had that great big newsstand
Long newsstand where you could walk in and have
over
all
on Randolph Street before you
Mhm.
went down into the train. That was one of the best places to get comics consistently without crossing the bridge. And
Oh.
so yeah, in Chicago, I grew up on the west side and the south side.
Mhm.
So we have comic book shops over there.
Oh.
So the way I got comics was every once in a while, our local grocery store, the High Low, would have that 3-bag. Joe probably saw them. It was a plastic bag with 3 comics, but they would take off the cover page, and sometimes they would slice through
Hmm.
part of the issue. But they would sell them for like 50 cents to $1.
Oh.
You would get 3 different comics in the back, and it was
I
usually
think
one.
those are the ones they were supposed to throw away after they tear the cover off and cut through it. They're supposed to pitch
right.
them.
They're supposed to toss them, but they actually ended up selling
They
them.
were actually-
anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, for us little poor black children,
That's how
running
we got them, you know.
Yeah. I rode my bike to there was a drugstore in town. They had a spinner rack, and the grocery stores still had spinner racks.
Mhm.
A lot of my very first comics I ever got, I got at gas stations on road trips because they had the spinner rack.
Oh,
I didn't go to my first comic shop until I was probably 22 years old. I didn't even know.
That's what I say. I don't think Graham Crackers didn't show up until they were one of the first comic book stores I saw outside of the North Side. And I think they were early 80s, late 70s or something like that. I'm trying to remember how long Graham Crackers has been there. I know they've been there for some time.
I'm trying to think.
Over on Madison.
Madison one, I want to say they've been there since the 80s because there was two actually downtown.
Right.
Because the Madison one has been there the longest, and then there used to be another one. I want to say like on like Van Buren, but it was getting close to like Sears Tower.
Yeah, further. I'm trying to think. Not the Sears Tower. I'm wondering if it was near the Pickle Barrel. Wasn't it one?
Right.
Near
It's
the
in that
Pickle Barrel.
direction.
That's closer to where the Harold Washington Library is now. On Van
But it was
Buren.
further west than where Harold Washington Library was. It was
It's
west
a little further west, but they weren't any further west than, say, I think LaSalle or Clark.
I think it was Clark.
Because
Van Buren and Clark.
Yeah, because they had the handy dandy fruit, nut, and candy shop was also in that area. Hey, dude.
It's like that's how she remembers the thing. But I remember that place because like I always
it's like the Tutti Frutti Fresh and Fruity.
Because the one that was there on Van Buren was like a hole in a wall. It's like you go up in there, you felt like you squeezed in.
Yeah, they were very small, and the guy would look at you like you were like, they would look, if you were black and walked in, they would look at you the entire time you were in there because they just knew you were going to steal something. It's like, dude, I got money. I collected cans and bottles.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how kids, when I grew up, that's how we didn't get allowances. When I was growing up, we didn't get allowances. So if you wanted money as a kid, you had to figure out a way to earn it.
Yeah.
And the way I earned my money back then was we used to go through the neighborhood collecting bottles and cans. And we could just take them to the high-low and you rinsed them out, you turned them in, and they would give you money. So it was like, ooh, and then later on I did a little babysitting, but that was my candy and comic book money. I could get candy and comic books if I got, because if I went to my mother and asked her for, hey Ma, can I have 50 cents so I can get a couple of issues, so I can get a Spider-Man and a Lois Lane, and she would look at me like, you were out of your mind, aren't you? You are not. I'm supposed to give you money, and it's like, but it's a book I'm reading. It's like, no, go read a dictionary.
See, I'm just happy that you were so smart ass. It's like, well, a dictionary is $12.
My
Because
mother.
dictionaries back then were expensive. They
Oh,
were expensive. So I was like, okay, you want me to read a dictionary? Give me 12, 15 bucks. I'll go buy one. I will read it happily. And she probably been
and
like ready to backhand you right there.
for you to regain consciousness. She'd have been standing over you going, now can you tell me what you just did wrong? So
And you would probably have been standing there just like, but I'm only trying to do what you asked. You told me to go read a dictionary. We don't have a dictionary, so I need $15.
well, actually my mother, we had a dictionary and then she had bought a couple of cheap encyclopedias.
Okay.
She had started buying encyclopedias. So we actually had a few encyclopedias and a dictionary in the house because she wanted to make sure that her girls could at least spell a word correctly.
So that was always a good thing.
And then there was also, we had a library van that used to come when I lived over in Jackson and Leamington. There was on the, was it northwest corner? I had to close my eyes because the picture. The northwest corner across from the cathedral was where the library van would show up every once in a while. So you could go in the library van and get a book. And I had to learn that, when I was very young, my mother had to explain, no, you were supposed to give the book back. You can't, they're not giving you books to keep. When you get the book, you have to turn it in.
Mm-hmm. But those were the days of growing up here.
When did Illinois stop doing the deposit on bottles?
I don't know.
Because I remember taking the old Pepsi. We drank Pepsi down here. I remember collecting those Pepsi bottles and taking them back to the store. Yeah.
Somewhere around the late 70s, early 80s, I'm going to say, when plastic became, when 2-liter plastic bottles became the thing, and suddenly you didn't have as many glass bottles. Suddenly, when we had more plastic bottles than glass bottles in the 80s, I think was when they had stopped, or a little before that. Because I don't remember kids collecting bottles after the late 70s.
I want to say the 80s because, again, in the 80s, that's when they stopped selling like 6-packs of the tall neck bottles.
Yeah.
Because remember, it was either the aluminum cans or the plastic. It was awfully hard to find a 6-pack of like crust.
Probably mid 80s because she remembers.
Oh, my wife apparently says it was the mid 80s because she remembers.
Yes,
but she sent the grandchild in too.
Hi.
There your YouTube star. You can go back to your room.
Yeah.
Hello.
I was getting afraid there because I just saw Eric's face going like, "How dare you speak?"
Well, I heard the door. And then I was like, okay, Jennifer coming here for something. Then I heard the little voice. I'm like, oh, what's Nora going to say now? Because kids do say the darndest things.
Yes, they do.
I know, there's a few states that still have deposits. Michigan still has a deposit.
I think, Michigan. I think Minnesota still has it, too.
Yeah.
California, they have, unless they've gotten rid of them now, California, they have these machines. That if you had bottles and stuff, and it was great for the street folks because you could collect the bottles and you would go to the machine and you would, if you rinsed your bottles and cans out and it had slots for whatever you were putting in that was acceptable, you would put it in and it would spit out this like receipt and you could go into the Lucky's or whatever and they would give you money. Or some stores would let you, if you didn't stink too bad, they'd let you, well, you have this much on the card. You want to go in and trade it in for groceries or something. So it was something that helped the street people out in our area. So I know a lot of neighborhoods in LA used to have that. I don't know if they still do.
Because now you're making me think about San Diego, and that was one of the things that is quite apparent. During Comic-Con time, you will not see a street person 9 times out of 10 when Comic-Con is going on.
Oh no, the mayor
not even at night.
The
You will
mayor
not
has
see 'em.
the cops. They round them up and they put them away. You know,
Wow.
they
I mean,
just
it
kind
is
of
so weird. It is just so weird because you would never. It's like nobody's out there begging you and this, that, and the other. If anything, you might see somebody drunk on their ass and they can't get home, but you don't see a homeless person, not
yeah.
at all. And it was like the first time I've been there to San Diego, it was scary. And then afterwards, I was like, it's this 2, 3 o'clock at night, and it's like nobody out in like the gas lamp area, and like in certain areas, there's nobody out. And I was like, this is just weird. It's like, how is nightlife here? This way. And then that's when people told me it's like, no, the police round the people. They take care of them. Don't get me wrong. They don't round them up and treat them bad. It's like they round them up. They kind of like keep them in certain places.
Yeah. Yeah.
They treat them
It's
well, and then
like
after those major events are over, then they go back out to the streets and everything.
there was several stories about it posted in California. Once Comic-Con became a big thing, the studios did not want to send their stars any place where there would be danger. And so it's like when it's Oscar time, everything around the Kodak Theater at Hollywood and Highland, all those street people get cleared out for that 24-hour period. So it's like, well, if we're going to bring all our money and our stars and everything here, then you have to make it so that, they can be safe there. So yeah, so to get that, because Comic-Con is now such a big thing in San Diego. It's like their con in such a way because they make a lot of money off of it.
It's almost as big as the city itself.
Yeah, it literally takes over all of downtown San Diego because bars have events, restaurants are having events. I've never been there yet. I know all about it.
I have.
Yeah, me too.
I have, and I was like, I have seen it expand and expand and expand and expand more. I mean, when you're getting to the point where you're moving, where you're up here lodging people in suburban areas in San Diego, where they're like 20 and 30 miles out, and you have to have shuttle buses and stuff. You're getting awfully big.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, they like districts.
But people are like Airbnb. A lot of people out there, depending on how close they are, Airbnb rooms in their houses or their houses. Some people are buying houses so that they can Airbnb them. So there are people who are making money, not just the downtown businesses. There are people who, because trying to get hotels out there can be insane for some of the regular folks.
Be in that lottery. That's the worst feeling ever, because a lot of times the places that are most reasonable, that are close by, go like that.
Yep.
So by the time, if you get into that lottery, by the time they get to like your place in the lottery, you're either going to be paying through the nose to be like right there at that, right by the convention, or you're going to be paying for a hotel where you're going to have to take a shuttle bus. And when I say take a shuttle bus, you're going to be like in Mission Valley or one of the other suburbs.
And you can't sleep on a bench or they're going to round you up.
Yeah.
Technically, you probably could sleep on the bench, because with Hall H, they actually have people literally camp out on the grounds of the convention center for Hall H. Sleeping bags and everything.
Wow.
It got to the point where, because of and I hate to say this, because of some of the, if I could say, extracurricular activities that is illegal, it got to the point where they have to close off certain sections of the convention center.
Yeah.
Are they still illegal
because
in
there's not
California?
enough guards, there's not enough people guarding those areas where you don't have to deal with, people with sexual misconduct and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I have seen people get into fights just in the middle of the street there, just because one person not moving fast enough, this, that, or the other, and then they turn around, pow. Police there have to be there, ready on the spot, locking them up.
And the fans even worse. So I mean, those are just the actors, the fans.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking, I don't know what's like to see a nerd fight.
but that was the thing. This was not a typical nerd fight. Like people who would go and it's because you have the celebrity stuff. They would go and then they would go to a bar. And when you go across the street from the convention center, it's like there's a whole bunch of different bars and eateries there, and people, half drunk and whatnot, don't know what they're doing, this, that, and the other. Bump into the wrong people, they get into an argument. Next thing you know, there's a fight. It's like police always have to be there. Also, San Diego was also the first convention where I have actually seen a lot of religious people go and protest.
Really?
Yes, I have never seen it here in Chicago. I have never seen it in like Michigan and Wisconsin.
I haven't seen it in St. Louis.
It's like I barely saw it in New York, but each and every year in San Diego, there's at least 2 to 3 different religious groups that will be in front of the convention center protesting.
Is it the nut jobs in Kansas? What were they called?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't keep up with who's representing what, but I just know that they have their signs and everything. It's talking about imagination is wrong. Everything that's going in, that's happening with Comic-Con is wrong. All this other stuff, and they have like their different Bible scriptures and everything. I was like,
I don't believe there's a scripture about a comic at all.
Yeah,
no, but
I've read it a few times. I don't remember seeing it. Yep. I might have been more interested if there's stuff about comics.
But can you picture some poor little religious nut standing there? Well, here it is. You have all these girls, and they're in these outfits, and my little
that comes up too. Yep.
He's getting these ideas from these girls in these outfits, and then my husband gets mad because all the famous guys come and he can't get the hookers no more when they're around, and little Sammy Sue, he can't sell no. He's only got the cheap drugs, and they only want the good stuff. So it's just it hurts us, and so we just decided, Jeebus, we have to let Jeebus take the wheel and take over and make sure that we let them know this is not acceptable.
And what hurts me to the core, after you hear all of that, there's little Bitty Bob and little Sarah Sue next to him, seeing it. And I was like, if it's that bad, why are these kids here holding up signs along with you? Do they truly understand what they're doing?
A family that protests together stays together.
I just don't know. It's almost like they're awestruck. It's like they see the amount of people and they see those that are cosplaying. They see the famous people walking past them, and it's just like they're awestruck. And they're up here like, you could tell in their eyes, like, am I really against this, or is this just,
I feel bad for the kids because as soon as they go back to school on Monday, little Jim Bob is gonna get his butt handed to him. Dude, I saw you on TV with your crazy mama last night, and y'all was talking about that. Do you know I like that show? Okay, girlfriend, she got knockers. Boom. I wouldn't want to be one of their kids because they've got to go to, those kids are going to go to school, and every day somebody's going to be saying something. I'd knock you down, but I don't want Jeebus getting in my face.
Exactly. That's kind of like the weirdness that's what. But those are the shows that is just like, it's just weird. San Diego is a weird show in that aspect.
I'd like to go there sometime.
I do have to say this. If you go there and if you're not exhibiting, San Diego is the best place for networking. Best place. best place for networking if you're trying to, get that next job or to get that next project or to find somebody to collaborate with. Best place ever for networking. Because you never know. It's like you might bump into somebody in the
Parallax disagrees with you.
Yeah, she's definitely in a SDCC sucks mood right now. We're not saying anything bad about New York.
But she's kind of right. She's kind of right because it is Hollywood. San Diego Comic-Con is more Hollywood than comics now.
Yeah,
but
it's where they first started.
But from my experience here, I have not met as many producers, writers, and other people that have film association like I have. If it wasn't for San Diego,
that's why I keep saying.
I really wish I would have met more in the comic book industry. But it's weird. It's like you happen to talk to one of the superstars in the comic book industry, and they're surrounded by people in the industry that's doing film, and they're coming up to you. It's like, oh, you're an independent comic creator. What are you working on? And so that's like, well, and this is the thing. This is the one question that got doors open for me. The first thing that it would say is like, oh, you produce your own comic, this, that, and the other. Are you? It's like, well, are you in Diamond? It's like, no, but I'm on Comixology. Oh, okay. Come on in. Let's talk about this, that, and the other, yada, 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 yada. It's like, really? That's the litmus test? If I'm not in Diamond, you won't mess with me, or if I'm not getting distributed by somebody else? That's interesting. And it's like, when I ask those questions and start asking, looking at that bigger picture, it makes a major difference. And, this is, like I said, this is things that I learned being a publisher more so than creating comics, more so than anything else.
But if you're trying to get that movie deal, it is the place to go, because it's like Con. Because when they're looking for the IP to buy for their next comic book movie or something based on a graphic novel, that's where they're going. They're looking. The movie people are there trying to figure out what's going to be my next blockbuster. And so they will go there, and then a few might go to New York, and then the rest of us is like, well, we don't have to go to Chicago. It's like, actually, you should. You'd be surprised at the talent you're going to find there. But it's like Con. There are the folks who you either go to, people go to Con and then they ignore all the really interesting stuff that's coming up at the American film market in Santa Monica.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really, you get this, the big guys only want to go where the other big fish are. And it's like, well, if you were really a smart big guy, you would go where the little fish are, because that's where you're probably going to find the better products.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's like, get your pencils ready, Eric. July is coming. Uh-oh. She wants part 2 of that cover.
I got to dig out the original cover so I could butt up my sketch cover next to it.
She wants it. It's like, I read some Sergeant Wright, probably why my mom took them. Yeah. According to Reddit, it says Yearbook 1 was a reprint of previous material that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so
I was looking up Yearbook 1 on my phone going, well, it is all reprints. Okay.
Yeah, so that makes sense. It's like, why would you want to reprint, if you're getting their original information? Yeah, so. Yeah, there are screenshots of the G.I. Joe cartoon in Yearbook 1, so they might not have the rights to print it. Yeah, that's true. My favorite restaurant used to be on West Randolph. I would sit outside of the Sears Tower in the background. Yep.
It's not the Sears Tower anymore unless you're an actual Chicagoan.
What is it now?
Oh,
it's Willis Tower or something like that.
Willis?
Yeah, I never call it the Willis Tower.
It's still a Sears Tower. It's Sears Tower.
It's like, I don't, it's Ogilvy Station, not Accenture Tower.
Right.
So I'm never calling. I am. Oh my God. It is the Hancock Building, and that's it. And when people it's like, you know what? I got 5 reasons why you need to shut up.
Yep.
I go into my Lucy Van Pelt, Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown mode. It's like,
Oh, okay. Yep. I'm about to say it's like 5 reasons.
those are good reasons. Thank you.
The days of Comiskey Park.
Oh.
And now it's like I'm just so tired of every 4 to 5 years it changes its name. I'm wondering what's going to get changed once they move the park. If they get the money to move it, because they talk about moving it towards Printers Row.
Now, see, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. It's like, for one thing, you've got a school right over there. You've got Jones. What's going to happen to Jones if you move? Where are they going to put it, for one thing? And Printers Row, you're going to have to tear down.
It's not that close. It's not where you think it's at. It's right off the expressway. It's further down.
Oh, so it's that big open area just on the other side of the expressway, across from where the Icon and all that is.
Exactly.
Oh shit, no. The geese pooping as they go overhead alone in protest it will just be difficult for a lot of people. We get during the fall through the winter, that's one of the areas, because it rains and the rain pools there. That's one of the areas where the Canadian geese like to flock. So it's like, and geese will go to the same place generationally every time. So I can see the beginning of season and the whole place is just covered. Geese just letting them. We had to move.
No. Can you just imagine? It's like tail end of summer, beginning of fall. Especially if it gets to postseason baseball, playoff baseball.
Oh goodness.
It's like delay a game, geese. They have to remove the geese off the field and everything. It's like,
and these geese do not play.
They're territorial.
Oh yes,
I know that for a fact because I have friends that live out in Rosemont, about like 5 to 20 minutes away from O'Hare, and there's a pond that's there that geese go to. Especially if they have their kids there. You could be more than 5 feet away from their kid. You're nowhere near them. They will be ready to charge you to protect their kid. That's like they are territorial. It's like you are not coming nowhere near. It's like we're here. You better stay like 30 feet away. And even if you're 30 feet away, I have no problem flying over there and charging at you.
Yeah, it's like. I always wonder, it's like, even though we call them Canadian geese, do they really come from New York? Because it's, it's like, I keep the coyotes. Every major park in Chicago has a coyote den now. Mm-hmm. And in some neighborhoods, it's becoming a bit of a problem because the park district wasn't going after the coyotes because the coyotes were supposed to keep the geese numbers in check. But the coyotes a lot of times will not bother the geese because
they teamed up.
Well, you know what it is? I believe the geese are armed, and the coyotes show up, and the geese, one goose pulls out a gun, and others start pulling out switchblades.
That's what I'm thinking. It's like it's not like they corner one over. It's like they would see one and then you hear the one honk, and then next thing you know, here's 30 of them. And I was like, okay, I know I'm about to go away. Don't worry about it. My bad.
They're like they're avian Crips and Bloods. They just
It's like she said, Lainey Lois Langford was born before allowance were invented. See, that's wrong. That's so wrong. That is so wrong.
I feel so disrespected. Oh my goodness.
That is so wrong.
Now, if you excuse me, I gotta go take some. I guess I need to go take my rheumatism medicine.
No.
Gotta get some Bengay and rub it in those elbows and the joints.
I see that kind of racism going around me, so I make certain I tell them that I appreciate seeing the diversity. It's refreshing. Good Lord, we haven't grown as much as we say. Yep. It's a sad thing holding a purse closer all of a sudden, witnessing that it irks me. Yep. I leave that last topic because I don't want it to turn anything bigger than about a conversation. I appreciate you. Okay.
We appreciate you too, Sarah girl. We love you.
But that's growing up. But that's growing up. We do share that aspect of growing up of collecting bottles and cans and all this other stuff and figuring out all. It's not a racial thing. It's just other people who don't want to face facts that we're more common than different.
I think she's talking about my remark about going into the comic book store and having the guy stare at me from the moment I came in to the moment I left because he thought I was going to steal.
Yeah, I mean, but to us, that's a fact of life, and I have to say it this way: when you travel, especially when you go outside the country, that's going to be even more obvious, regardless of skin color.
Yeah,
they know they're normal. They know they're normal people, and if you look unfamiliar, they will be like, who are you? Let me follow you around, this, that, and the other. So it's not just skin color. It's not just racism. It's just people have that tendency to do that type of stuff, and we're more in common with one another. We have more in common with one another than differences.
Yeah, Sarah clarified it wasn't racist to collect cans.
Yeah.
No. But when I went to Japan, when I got stationed in Japan for the first time, I remember guy was dating at the time, and I walked into this little shop on a side street, and the lady was very sweet. She gave me a piece of, she's like, "Oh, this is for you," and it's like, I don't have anything. And they want, when you go somewhere in the military, you have to go through debriefing before they even let you out off the base. Mm-hmm. And one of the things they said, it's very transactional. They give you a gift, they're going to expect you to give them something in return. And I didn't have anything, but she was very sweet. The only thing is she goes, "When are you leaving?" And I was like, I'm stationed here for as long as they say I'm stationed here. And then she had a son who came in and said, "Oh, no, she's asking when is the military leaving." It's like, oh, okay, so it's not me personally. Oh.
Did you tell them never?
But I got to the point where the shopkeepers, I was short and very thin back then because I ran 8 miles a day uphill, and I could fit a lot of the clothes that people sold in their little neighborhood areas. And it got to where people would know me. I would come in and the shopkeepers would be, "Scotia Marine, Scotia." They would never say my name, but they called me Scotia Marine because Scotia is small.
Small Marine.
So they would go, "Oh, Scotia Marine, hold on, new clothes." They would bring, it's like, because I could fit the shoes. I'm like just 5.5 inches tall. So it was like I could fit the clothes, and it would be great because I'd run in and it would give me all sorts of great discounts and everything. I loved it. The only ever part about being in Okinawa that ever bothered me in Naha, the capital city, and I don't know if it's changed. They have this thing. It's like a river, but it's an open sewer. It's an open sewer thing.
I think that's still around, but it's not throughout the whole entire city.
We would get drunk and start on one side, and everybody would take a breath. You take it, hold it, and then you had to run across the bridge. Mm-hmm. The winner was the person who got across the bridge and didn't pass out or throw up.
Wow.
Now you know what type of soldier.
You were the fun kite. We
we're Marines. That's, if we weren't doing that, then Saturday night when we all go dancing, my job, me and another female, we used to hang out with these 11 big guys, and they would always invite us. They would buy all our drinks and stuff. And my job specifically, we'd go in, and there was this Navy bar, and my job was to walk in and find a table big enough for us, go to the biggest guy at that table, wear something low cut, snuggle up, smile, have him smile back, and punch him in the face.
That would explain why Navy people hate Marines more so than Army and Air Force. We love you guys, but you guys you want to treat us like all bad and whatnot. It's like, just remember, death from above.
But it would be funny because by the time his friends stopped laughing and he was ready to punch me back, I had 11 big guys who would suddenly go, "Oh, you're not touching her," and we would just take their table. That's how we would get. I was an evil person. I was an evil. Hear that, people? I was an evil, evil drunk. This is why I am now a clean, sober, nice person.
Did you show this to your friends?
So let's see.
Hi.
Yearbook one has, it was a reprint of issue 1, so that's the reason why. So if you get issue 1, and then it recaps the story all the way up to 19, and cutaway picture of the pit, which was in the center of Compendium 1. Okay, that would explain a lot, Parallax. And then it was a short section of the show. Okay. Hey, kiddo, she's adorable. Yep. We have those machines.
Come on, let the kid come out. I promise I won't bite.
She left my door wide open.
There's
Hi, Nine Realms.
That's
for some reason he asked me to show these pins
that's
to you.
Pins.
Oh, they're Japanese. Okay, that's why.
Domo.
Yes. Show them again.
Show them again.
Oh, they're the same pin, but here we go.
There you go. Now it's focusing.
They're nice brush pins. I like to use them myself.
Ooh, domo arigato. Yeah, in the Marines, they teach you 2 Japanese phrases: domo arigato
Thank you
and
very much.
gomenasai. Because they said those 2 phrases will keep the Yakuza from beheading you.
Yeah.
Thank you, and domo is arigato, of course, thank you, and then gomenasai is I am so very sorry.
Yeah. It's like, hey, Nine, and then that's too big. Hey, Donna, and then the nut jobs do the same at small cons in little areas too. I did not know that. Because, like I said, I'm more used to the bigger shows than the small ones, but I have never seen. It's like I got them out all the characters of Doom and Gloom pamphlets next to.
If they ever come to C2E2, Joe, you're gonna have money to bail me out of jail, because you know what's gonna happen the minute they come up with their Bibles and go. Just do my Linda Blair voice.
No. I could just see this now. It's like the world coming, like, Jesus Christ is just like the power of Christ compels you. Yeah, that's right. Jesus Christ.
No, actually more like sliding up to whoever the tallest man is. And you ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? I said it to all my victims. I just like the sound of it. And then walk away with a little bully jiggle. And hear the slap. You were watching her behind too much. Harlot for the win. Yeah. I'm so happy this camera doesn't go far now.
I have a sign once that said
Galactus is
die. Galactus is die. Yes. It's exactly why Silicon had to be moved. They were seen as satanic. It was and is such a deplorable situation. Taught not to judge while out there judging. Yep.
We met that Joe. Remember, we met that rabbi. Remember, he
Hmm.
had the whole thing, and he there was this rabbi at C2E2. He had like Lucy has her
It's
psychiatrist
like
is
the
in thing.
psychiatrist is in 5 cents. He had that type of frame around his head and everything. He was walking around with it.
Do you need a moment? It's okay. I'm a I'm a rabbi. It was so adorable.
But but that's the reason why I always say this. There's always room at the table when it comes to comics. That's like we're not standoffish or anything to that magnitude. We're not cliquish in that aspect. We are inviting to people, but at the same time, we got like like I said, those groups that come out there out of nowhere just protest us because that's what they feel. It's like I get that, but you don't realize how much stuff that's out there that is worse off based upon scripture than a comic book.
And somebody probably read either an issue of Damon Hellstrom, Son of Satan, or something, or
And it
picked up
doesn't
a
even
copy
it
of
doesn't right.
Heavy Metal and just decided we were all demon possessed.
That stuff does not touch a lot of the other literary classics dealing with that topic, nor movies, nor all of these other organizations that get into that type of stuff. But they want to attack the easy thing. It's easy to attack comics. It's easy because why? It's not anybody that has real type of money or real type of influence that could come back at them and ruin them.
Well, also because the big two don't care.
Right.
The big two really don't care. It's like they're looking at this like, you know what? You go ahead. We gonna make money anyway. So you
It's
just
like
go ahead there with your little Bible, you know. And
it's like
I'm glad that they'll come to C2E2 because I know my PTSD, and I'm just likely to go, hey, would you like to see how that tastes? I will happily feed this Bible back to you. Hold on.
and knowing me, depending on my mood, I'll probably be sarcastic when you do something like that. Be like, yep, God always said to chew on his word and be quoting scripture right back at him. I'll be quoting scripture right back at him because again, it's like it. It's, we all supposed to. It's like I'm not trying to get off the topic here, but we all supposed to walk our own walk when it comes to our soul salvation. You can't force the stuff on other people. And if you try to force stuff on other people, you're not winning them over to your side, period.
No.
And San Diego Comic Con sucks. That's what Leia was saying. It sucks. That's like I'm not there to network, I'm there to shop. Oh, then you're gonna be disappointed. You wanna know why? Because San Diego Comic Con is not a shopping convention whatsoever.
No. It's like I
You
said,
do
it's like
have your
con.
exclusives. Don't get me wrong, you do have your exclusive, but a lot of the stuff that is there there's a lot more freebies than stuff to buy. And trust me, you want to get the freebies as fast as possible because they run out like that. The stuff that you can buy, they're plentiful. They're plentiful while there. But the freebies, and do you
Yep.
know why the freebies go real quick? Because those are the ones that people go back or eBay and all this other stuff and try to sell because I was there at the convention and I got this free comic book over here that is so rare and this, that, and the other. It's like, and then you look at it, it's like, what's so rare about that? And then you look at the exclusive. I was like, I want the exclusive. And then you turn around 20 years later, it's like that free book was something that would have been the thing to buy, even if it was like $10. When the first hit eBay. But still, that it is what it is. That's definitely not a shopping convention. New York is. C2E2 is. New York, San Diego, no. Mm-mm. That's your go there to see all these exclusive shows, all these previews, to be a part of all these one-time events. to get all the free swag and everything because you got this movie coming out and they're giving away all these nice little things. It is a network. San Diego really is. It got away from being about comic books and what's coming out new in comics. It got into the whole thing about all media as a networking event. If you're trying to break into Hollywood in some form or some fashion, it's a networking event in that aspect here. They do have some comic stuff, but it's just not focused like it used to be.
Yeah. Well, once the movie studios, somebody convinced the movie studios, hey, that's like a place where nerds gather. And if you're trying to put up something that the nerds are going to want to see, that's a place. And when they first started, it was they would just bring a trailer and maybe they would bring one of the supporting cast members. And then the hipsters started coming, and then suddenly the big name actors started going, wait, we can charge people for our pictures and money just to, because it used to be, I was telling somebody about this at C2E2, back in the day, I got to go grandma now, back in the day, you could go to a convention and Nichelle Nichols would be sitting at a table, and the headshot was $10. And you could go say, hey, Miss Nichols, can you sign my headshot? And she would say, yes, baby, yes. And she would sign that headshot, and you only spent $10. And you could go and you would spend maybe $40 to see her speak. And so you spent $50. That was it. Now it's $250 just to be just to stand in line to say hi to Ming-Na Wen.
Yeah.
There are actors who have for years just made money going to conventions. What's his name from Alan Tudyk had a thing on Sci-Fi called Con Man.
Mm-hmm.
And it was and I loved it. It was that series about, he had that one series that did well and then spent years just doing the circuit, making money, And a lot of actors, I'm finding out that a lot of them, that's how they keep themselves afloat. And if they can get into San Diego, they might actually get noticed by someone if they can say, look, here are my fans. The fans love me. See, they're coming for my autograph. I made X amount of dollars. And it's a way of getting the studio heads to say, oh, okay, maybe we'll give you, maybe we'll hire you for something.
Michael Biehn doesn't do as many movies now because he said he makes more on the con circuit than he did making movies.
And it's probably less of a headache.
Oh, yeah. It probably is. Well, I got to get going. I'm late for my other show.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I just realized.
Yep.
Well, good seeing you, Elaine, and Joe, of course, and Clyde, wherever you are.
All right. So go ahead and give your spiel.
Hey, I'm just here. I do stuff. I draw stuff. What?
I drew a new superhero.
My granddaughter drew a new superhero.
Oh,
Plant Girl.
cool.
Girl. Yeah.
Cool.
There you go. She's going to take over my comic for me when I get too old to draw it, which won't be too long. I got my books in last week, and Joe, I don't know if I told you. I know I told you guys I got the books in.
Right.
It wasn't until like a day or two later I realized they didn't send my mailers.
Oh, wow. Really?
I was so excited with the books. I opened them and counting them. I was like, okay. I'm like, there's something missing here.
Where's my bags to mail them in?
Yeah, well, they're supposed to boxes because where I get them, they have Gemini type boxes. They're just the same. I just order them all from the same company, so not order from different places. I was like, I'm missing something. So they said they were on back order, even though they put on the invoice they shipped with the comics, and that they're shipping them now. So this has been a nightmare campaign. So
I'm sorry.
But I'm still going forward. I'm still working on my next Wonderful World of Oz book. So
and
I'm not letting it get me down.
And you're somewhat on schedule. I think, what, a month?
2 months. 2 months behind. Yeah,
Too much behind. Yep.
Which, compared to Lockcat Page, that's really good.
That's still doing good. That's
I
still
mean,
doing good.
I'm waiting on some who are over 5 years old.
Mhm.
One I ordered for my wife for Christmas 2 years ago is shipping now.
Wow.
That's steampunk. What was it? Steampunk Nutcracker tale.
Oh, wow.
Because she loves the Nutcracker, and the art looks spectacular. They were going to ship it in time for Christmas. Christmas came. I had to get her something else for Christmas. Next Christmas came. It still hadn't shipped.
I think I know the one you're talking about. I think I've seen a few sample pages online of it.
It looked really good. I did get the digital like a couple weeks ago, and it looked good. But I'm waiting for the physical because that was supposed to be a Christmas present 2 years ago. So I'm 2 months behind, but we're getting there. Get some shipping boxes. We'll be shipping them. So join us every week here, regardless of whatever we're talking about. You never know what it's going to be. It's one extreme to the other. We're all over the place. We don't care. There's no rails for us. But I'm off to go
never
draw.
been real.
Yeah. I'm
Never
off
been
to go
real
draw Mars Attacks tonight. So
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
we'll see how that turns out.
Well, what's your plan on what's your plan to draw here?
Just an alien.
Oh, just an alien.
Any alien with guns.
Not the queen, not the queen of Mars or anything like that.
Not maybe some dead bodies and stuff, and blood, gore, everything like that.
Yep. All right.
Ooh.
All right. I'll see you guys later. Have a good week.
All right.
Bye, darling.
Bye.
All right. So let's get through the rest of this here because we did that. It's like let's see. It's like we already talked about this. I was like, I'm not waiting on no damn pier all night.
Crap, Anna.
No, I can see her being upset. And it's like I'm going to go to this panel for that's over there at Hall 8. And it's like, where's the line at Hall 8? Go out the door, make a left, go 3 blocks down, and that will be the end of the line. And you might not get in because that's just how many people that was just waiting in that has maximum seat capacity. I mean, it's just surprising. It's like you will leave the show at maybe about like 7-8 o'clock at night, and you'll come out and you see people with their sleeping bags and their camping gear and everything because they want to be in Hall H for a particular celebrity or a particular panel or to a particular screening that's happening in Hall H.
Lee Pace, when they were first coming out to do, I think it was Battle of the Five Armies.
Mm-hmm.
It was either that or the second Hobbit movie. Yeah, it was his first Comic-Con as an actor. And there's a picture of him. He was hanging out with some of the original Lord of the Rings guys and guys from The Hobbit. And they wanted to go see the fans who were sleeping outside of Hall H,
Mm-hmm.
who had managed to camp in the building outside of Hall H. And there's a picture of Lee Pace. I don't know why he would do this because I would have been scared to death. He decided, let's have fun. He would go next to someone and lay down next to them and take a picture.
I mean, I'll be so afraid somebody waking up and like, no.
But it's like, and I'm sure, and I was thinking, dude, you should. But the thing is, he also stands 6'5".
Doesn't matter if you lay horizontal, you're the same size.
That's true.
I don't care.
I was like, now, what if you're laying next to some dude and he likes dudes and he waits and he sees your pretty butt laying there and you're like, yeah, I'm taking my picture next thing you know, wow. It's like, okay. And you can't, how do you explain that to the police? Exactly. How did this attack come about, Mr. Pace? Okay, so like I was walking around Hall H and me and my friends were there and maybe we were a little drunk and the fans were sleeping, right? So I snuck up close to this dude and snuggled in beside him, and the cops were just sitting there and then you did not expect him to get fresh with you. Right. Okay.
Right. Okay.
We're going
we got you. How long have you known this individual? That would be the first question. First question.
I don't know him personally. And it's like, so you went up to somebody you don't know, stood there and looked down on a sleeping person, snuggled in next to him so you could get a selfie with this person. And and if that was Chicago, you know what would happen. The cops would turn to the other person and go, "Would you like to press charges?" Here, that's
like,
considered sexual harassment.
First, you got exactly what you deserve. Second, would you want this? Like they told the other person, would you want to press charges? Because if in California, the first thing they probably would have done is like, okay, come here, do this. Basically see how drunk you really are here.
It's like, and it's like, because depending on the cop, he may have gotten his butt beat too, because you know how cops are in Chicago. But I remember seeing those pics and just laughing my butt off, because it's like, oh, dude, it's so good I was not there, because I'd have been so arrested. I'd have been happy. I'd have been really happy. Because I'd have been saying, it's not a little mushroom.
You're not right with that one, but that's like, I've been to large cities. I miss large cities days so little now. Oh wow, why did I have to come up at that time? That's a tiny thing.
But it's like it's like, okay, it's not as bad as what they used to do, because it used to be when the Brits were here. It's like in Britain they would be, very uptight Brit, and then the minute they got to America, they went hog wild. And
because they feel that nobody knows us here. We're nobody's here. We could act a fool. Guess again.
Though I have that video of Tom Hiddleston as Loki walking in full costume, the Say My Name video. It's like, I love that one, especially because he says after he did that, he came out and he said, Chris was sitting there, Chris Evans was standing there, they had all been watching. Chris Evans was supposed to go on after him. And Chris Evans just standing there. He's just wearing a shirt and a sweater and stuff. And he's just looking like, really? How am I supposed to deal with, how am I supposed to follow this up? Because it's a great thing and especially since I think I forgot the person who moderates said something. He was like, silence, you mewling Quim. And the hall just broke out laughing. It was wonderful. That was one of the times it's like, yeah, see, that's how the Brits need to act. But I've seen Brits do things like, there was one guy, Paul Darrow, was famous for grabbing women and shoving them against walls and pressing himself against them. Things
you can't get away with that nowadays.
Yeah, but things that back in the day, nowadays you would be screaming, rape and whatnot. But back in the day, that was, and he was known for it. But they do say, I met someone who had told me that women in the fandom applauded when David Gerald came out of the closet, because beforehand he used to sexually assault women. He was known for grabbing women and being, and whatnot, and being very disrespectful. And then when he came out of the closet, and he never apologized. That's what got me. He never apologized for how he treated women in those days.
It's like that to me is where somebody should have pulled him off to the side and did this. Yeah, midlife crisis here. I can't admit it dark. It's like I'll be at a golf concert in Chicago in September, Can't wait to breathe fresh. What? You coming to
Yes.
Chicago to breathe fresh air? Like, wait, hold on. What's going on? What's going on downstate where you can't get fresh air? I think believe downstate have the freshest of the air down there.
Oh my goodness, you're coming, girl. Keep me informed. We will have you over for dinner. And if you bring somebody you don't like, we'll have them for dinner.
Yeah, she has her banquet table all set up. She'll make that.
I got a nice 8-foot long table. I'll send
That's
you
like
a
I
copy.
send you a
with your-
copy of the T-shirt, your T-shirt. Send me your address and the book of
Oh,
faces.
okay. We'll do, Leia.
And it's like whereby some will can charge back. Yeah, he is a couple of months late, but he has the books. I will always. It's like it will always be the Sears Town, not the Willis. Yep.
Yeah, it's whenever anybody British asks me about it, it's like, you know what? When I get to walk up to Buckingham Palace,
Mhm.
kick one of those standing guards and say, "This is Haygood House now," then you can call it Willis Tower. Otherwise, shut up.
Mhm. Unless you're the company that's from Willis, no,
No,
it's still
don't
Sears
want.
Tower.
There's nothing you got. Even if you're even if you work for Willis outside of that building, you better show some respect. Don't make me throw some hands on you.
See, I agree. I agree with Parallax here. It is still Shea Stadium where the Mets play. It's still Penn Station, and it's still the World Trade Center. Not the what type of light show did they put there now? It's a memorial light show that they got there where the towers were, where the World Trade Center towers were. It's some I forgot what it's called now. It's they gave it a weird name. Yeah, same as the Assembly Hall in Champaign. I refuse to call it the State Farm Center. Yep. Yeah, I mean it's getting ridiculous. It's like we're a big corporation. You're gonna put our name on this facility because why? We gave you a whole big bag of money. It's like you can take your whole big bag of money and go somewhere else with these naming rights.
They just announced they're changing the name of the Museum of Science and Industry because some rich dude gave them some money. And I'm like, great. Does that mean if I go take a crap on City Hall, they'll change it to the Haygood Hall? Come on, let's.
Oh man.
Anyway, do you have any books that
Unfortunately, there's no reviews because of the simple fact that I've been in the process of cataloging. And just to give you an idea of the cataloging stuff and the stuff that I've been doing on Whatnot, this is not all of it, but this is like one stack of books that is
Ooh.
technically on sale. That will be on sale on Whatnot. So I've been cataloging a lot of my extras and everything to that magnitude, but I did get in issue number 8 of She-Hulk, which I haven't read as of yet.
Ooh.
And I still got issue 7 of Wonder Woman that I need to read. Miss Marvel, another Miss Marvel #1. I forgot they changed. It's like they changed her series. It's like now she's just relegated to all these limited series. So they came up with another limited series for her. So I got the first issue of that here. Both White Sox fan Joe and Dr. Dre never. It's like we'll never say Comiskey Park. Yeah, it is Comiskey Park.
It's Comiskey Park. That's how
just like when the old building was torn down, it was Old Comiskey, New Comiskey.
New Comiskey.
It was not anything else but Old Comiskey, New Comiskey. And
I used to
then
have
US
artwork.
Seller come in, and now it became the Cell. And the reason why I was okay with the Cell is because during that time they was going to the playoffs, they was making deep playoff runs. They almost was in the World Series. No, actually they won a World Series up in that ballpark.
Yeah.
So in New Comiskey, they won a World Series in New Comiskey. So, that was kind of acceptable. Then after that, then US Seller left Illinois. The company did not fold. The company left Illinois.
They left us.
those accounts got sold off to Sprint. So I was for a short time with Sprint, and now Sprint got all those accounts got sold over to T-Mobile. So now I'm with T-Mobile. But saying all that to say, when U.S. Cellular left Illinois, the naming rights came up again, and nobody wants to go and see a ball game at Guaranteed Rate Park. What type of ballpark is that Guaranteed Rate?
That's like that's just, you know, they picked the one person in the company who recently recovered from a brain injury. You know, and decided you get to name the park, Fred.
You gonna name it Guaranteed Rate.
You're like,
Right, because because we do mortgages. See, it makes sense. Mortgages, guaranteed rate,
Right.
guaranteed rate park. Yeah, the kids will love it.
okay, can someone take Fred back to his office now? I think we need to change his diaper. You know,
Mhm.
Sylvie, you're gonna do that. Okay.
just like all the name changes that happen with Candlestick, it still will be Candlestick Park to me. It's like I used to be in Chicago every two it was like every other weekend for golf events. So missed it. But then again, the money was a little bit different. You didn't have such a tight budget, so you could have afforded it. I mean, it's just a change of if I could say, economy.
Also, I think the goth scene here has changed a bit. I don't know if there are many goth places as there used to be.
I don't know. Again, I haven't really been out and about as of late in Chicago either, because again, the economy has changed so much, and there's so many different extra taxes on stuff now that it's like going out is not feasible.
I'm doing this year because I didn't after COVID hit, I kind of just sort of quit going places.
Hmm.
But I decided this year I'm tired of like just having a summer and I don't go anyplace. So this year, Sunday, I've got shopping to do tomorrow and Saturday, and then Sunday is the 57th Street Art Fair,
You're probably going to have fun with that.
and
That's
I'm
in Hyde
going.
Park. That's not too far. That's
We
not too far
I used to
away.
go every year. I used to go every
Mhm.
year. I love it. And a friend of mine who lives in Humboldt Park has never been.
Okay.
So she's coming because she's never been there. So I'm going to show her around. And then Jeffrey's going to come because he wants to hang out too. And then
Well,
I
he
want to make,
better. He
I
better
would,
hang out because it's like
well,
it's like he doesn't make time for you as much.
no, well, he's going through some things right now. He's getting ready to move in July. But
Again.
I have to send you the picture. He took me to this place called Voodoo
Hmm.
Bakery.
Hmm.
And one of the things that they have these interesting donuts,
Okay.
and they're called the C&B. Like I said, I'll send you the picture. It said
Okay.
stuck. Mine said suck me on it. And you can't believe where the cream was, but it was a good donut. It was a
Hmm.
good donut, but it was a great place. But I'm also going to the Printers Row art fair.
I haven't been there in a couple of years. I haven't been to the Printers Row print festival or their book
Their
festival that
books,
they have.
they have the book festival, and then they also have an art festival.
Speaking of which, I'm not certain if you know who Daryl Harvey.
The name sounds familiar.
He writes a whole bunch of children's books. He was the first one that introduced me to that particular
Oh, okay.
Printers Row book fair.
There's also there. It used to be free over on the other side of the bridge in front of NBC Plaza. They have an art show there in the summer.
I forgot the name of that one.
And then
I know
there's
what you're talking
one,
about here, but then again, I haven't been towards North Pier in a long while.
and then they have one. They also have. I don't know if they're. I have to check and see if they're going to have it this year. But they have one at Navy Pier as well.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
again, Navy Pier and North Pier is two places I haven't been in a long while. Just like when I was out and about in my tail end of my 20s, I always used to be around like Medina Temple and Old Town and everything like that. So I really want to go see the new Bally's, because I was like, how are you going to take Medina Temple and make it a casino? That doesn't fit right to me. But I'm
Wait a minute.
curious.
Wasn't Medina Temple turned into Bloomingdale's
No, it
at
was
one
turned into
point?
the Bally's Casino.
Oh, it's the new casino. Okay.
Bloomingdale's bought the property, but never made it into a store.
Oh, okay.
And then Bally's, because they was up here talking about, well, we want a casino in Chicago. Bally's was supposed to be moved somewhere closer to Navy Pier, but because the land and stuff wasn't ready, and they have to construct a brand new building, they want to get in the city as soon as possible to start making money. So they took Medina Temple and built the Bally's there.
My 8th grade graduation was at Medina Temple.
My high school graduation was there.
That was, a lot of kids.
And I
graduated that
remember
age.
that place very well, because it was almost like across the street. It's almost like diagonally across the street. If you remember the Excalibur, the nightclub,
Yes.
Excalibur was like diagonally across from Medina Temple. And then if you walk like a block and a half, you had the Rock and Roll McDonald's and the Hard Rock Cafe and the Rainforest Cafe all right there. And then a couple of blocks away was another spot. It was like a hole-in-wall spot that me and my friends used to go to, called the Blue Frog, where you could get drinks to play all of these different board games and stuff. And they would open to like the wee hours of the night. They wouldn't kick you out to maybe like 2-3 o'clock at night.
Ed DeBevick's was like that. Used to be, you could go to Ed DeBevick's, and I have friends, we used to go to Ed DeBevick's on a Sunday, and we would get coffees and fries. And then we would head over to Second City, because midnight at Second City, you could go in and watch for free, because that's when the B or the C group was practicing different things. And you could, they didn't serve drinks at the late night show, but you could get in for free. If you got in there early enough, you could buy a drink. But they would close the bar down, and you could go and see, say, the second string players who weren't at the prime show, but they would have a lot of, and it was usually a lot of fun. We actually stumbled one night into the old before it became a chain, the old Billy Goat Tavern on Lower Wacker. That was a lot.
The first one, not the wannabe, the very first one.
No, the very first one, the one that Belushi made famous by doing the cheeseburger. We would go there occasionally to get late night cheeseburgers, because it was one of those places downtown where you could get stuff to eat. It's interesting how much the city has changed, and how sad, because there used to be a place on the north side called John Barleycorns, which, like Billy Goat, has become more of a chain now. And it's sad, because it was a great little place. Used to go in, on the side they had the painting, and then on the door it says they have La Beethoven. And they had the best clam chowder and really great burgers. The first and only time I ever drank stout, Guinness Stout, was there. I was with a friend, and they were like, "Oh, you should try this. This is really good." And it's like, it looks like pond water. And they're like, no, it tastes better than it looks. And it's like, oh God,
Oh, it's like, I was just like, I never known you to be a beer person, but then again, stout is not really beer; it's more beer.
And a lot of people, I've had to school a few people, because a lot of people don't get what you think of as we put the word beer to cover all of those things, but a stout is not an ale is not a lager, and a lager is not a beer. And so trying to explain, because if people go, well, what's the difference? It's like the way in which they are made is very different, and what's put in is also very different, which is why they don't taste exactly the same. But I've known people who, couldn't tell you the difference between say Old Style and Miller's, you know, and
I could.
Heineken. They could drink an Old Style, a Miller's, and a Heineken, and could not tell you the difference.
I could.
You could, I could, you know, but I've met people and people who consider themselves very high class, you know,
I'm
we're
high
like
class.
smart.
Okay, let's do the test here. Let me put it. MGD in front of you, a Corona and a Heineken. And
No.
I bet you they'll tell you that they all taste the same.
Mhm.
I would go even further. Let's remove the MGD. I'll give you a Bud Light, the most watered down beer ever. A Corona and and a Heineken, and they would still tell me they all taste the same. It's like, no, they don't.
No, my father taught me the difference because I once made that mistake and he whacked me in the back of the head and he made me drink a Schlitz, an Old Chicago, and a Hams.
I have not had a Hams in a long while.
I don't even think they make Hams anymore. They don't make Old Chicago
I
beer
think there's some
anymore.
people. I think there's some people that still have them because they haven't drank them because I think they are out of business, but they still have unopened cans of it. It's hard to come by.
It used to be if you went down Damon, there's a part where you go down Damon towards the German section. They used to have buildings that still had the old Schlitz signs
Mhm.
on the side because um and I had to have a friend I think it was my uncle was explaining because it's like, oh my goodness, they have those old Schlitz signs. And it's not like a painted sign, it's the old plaster signs that they made with the planet and the ribbon and all of that. And they were gorgeous. I don't think they're there anymore, which is
I don't.
really sad.
I don't think so either. Just like you don't see old style anymore too.
You don't see Old Style, you don't see Old Chicago,
You
um, don't see
don't
Hams.
know. What was the other one?
Miller High Life for a short time
They
was
they
trying to come
redesigned
back on
the
tight.
label. They redesigned the label for Miller High Life. There's still High Life around because technically that was the very first beer I ever had was Miller High Life.
Remember Lowenbrow?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
The horses.
yeah. No, you're thinking
Because it was
Budweiser
like
had
the blue horse
the
that looked like more like
Clydesdales.
a dragon. It looked more like a lion dragon type deal.
Yeah,
That's
it
what.
was like it was supposed to be a German beer or something, but they had the song today is this day, tonight is something special, the beer report must be
Mhm.
something more somehow, and tonight let it be low and brown.
Brown.
Why I remember that damn song,
You want to know
I
why?
don't know.
You want to know why? Because we grew up watching Soul Train and that between that Colt 45
Coke
and
45.
what was the other one? It was a malt liquor. It was another malt
Oh,
liquor that would play. Those commercials would play all during Soul Train.
and oh my goodness, champagne.
Yes.
And champagne came in pink and regular. I remember the one time I drank champagne. I got so sick. It was worse than stout. It was just horrific. It's like, did something pee in this? And then you found a way to carbonate it and sell it as a beer. This is horrific. Why would people? This isn't. And it's the champagne of beers. Oh my god.
It's not High Life. You cannot fake High Life. There's a lot of people that try, but you can't fake it. You cannot fake Miller High Life.
Well,
And that was the funny thing because it's like, oh, it's like here, here, have this Budweiser. It's like I barely get half of that down.
do
And
you
then there's
remember?
like, here, have this Heineken. It take me all night to get through it. Somebody would go and get me like a 40-ounce bottle of Miller High Life. It's like, what happened to your Miller High Life? It's gone. It's gone. It's like, how did you drink that down? It's like, I grew up with that. It's like most of my family grew up drinking that. So the taste of that, I have more of a palate for. Same thing with genuine draft. I have more of a palate for that. I could do Corona like that. Sam Adams, it's not as easy. It's bitter, but it's not as easy for me to get down as some of the other. And I'm not a beer drinker. I'm more of a wine and champagne drinker. But if I do beer, it's like if it's ultra bitter, it will take me forever to get it down.
My
Forever.
favorite beers are Irish, Harp and Ale. I can't stand Guinness Stout, but I if I have to drink a beer, it's going to be the Harper Ale. I mean Harper. What is it? There's Harp, and what is the other one? There's Harp, and now I can't remember the name. If I see it, I'll remember it. But Harp, and there's another one. There are two Irish beers that are decent.
Mhm.
And I got to know these beers because when I was in LA in school, I used to the Irish American Heritage Center. The Celtic Arts Center was split into a restaurant, and then the other side was a playhouse. And on the side of the playhouse, there was a stage. And on Mondays, they had what they call sessions. People would come, dance, play music, sing, tell stories. And they were like, "Hey, Lane, can you do the barkeeping?" It's like, okay. I was
Okay,
over 20.
that's like that's like you want this bottle. Here you go. Open it up. There you go. Open it up. Here you go. As
Yeah,
long as,
it was
as long as you don't have to mix nothing, you'd be like, okay, I can do
Bass.
that.
Bass, that's it. It's Harp and Bass. Bass is a beer. Bass is my favorite, but I'll drink Harp if I have to. But I don't drink as much as I used to because it was like just, it's I'm one of those people where, you know, you have that one drink and then it's like, oh, I need to have another drink. Do I have to do I have to sit here and deal with this idiot? I'm gonna have to have another drink.
Yeah,
Do
that
I
type
have
of
to?
deal.
Yeah, and before you know it, you've had like I've I've had nights where I used to work as a bouncer in a bar, and I've knocked back 15 shots of tequila.
I just imagine that as like that. It's like 15 shots of tequila. Now she's unfiltered. Oh boy. Yeah, that's not going to be pretty.
No, no, it wasn't. But that was in the days I could take a punch and give them. I was much younger, but
Much younger and trained. That's the difference.
yes,
Much younger and trained. You just
yes.
trained now. You just trained. So that makes you kind of like even more dangerous. But the thing about it is like, how long will it last?
Well, no, because I'm also more dangerous because I'm more sober now.
Hmm.
So it's like, yeah, I'm gonna take a step back. I'm gonna gauge where all your little sore spots are gonna be. I know how, as an artist, I know a lot about the human body. I know what will break with just the right amount of pressure. So, and I know if I drop to my knee and hit that kneecap on the side just the right way with the right amount of pressure at the butt of my palm, you are going down and not getting back up. So it's, and I know because I'm short. So you have to adjust your stance and you got to adjust your reach so you can get me. So I know if I drop down out of your reach zone, your knees are my victims.
And just in case you can't, you're the right height, the right force, straight to the kidneys. Over. It's over.
Oh,
It's like shut down. Shut down. Over.
oh, screw the kidneys. Just there's this little place, right above where your groin starts. Good whack there. You'll be puking. You'll be puking. So it's like, you kind of just experience teaching, and being an artist because you draw the human body and you're studying, anatomy teaches you. Okay. I tell young women, it's like study anatomy, learn where those pressure points are, learn where the
things.
points are.
It's the two things. One, study anatomy. And the second thing, if you're lucky enough, study rat technique.
Yes. Learn
And
something,
that's the thing that I'm still learning now is I'm still learning the finer points of rat technique. Because it's like when you're in the military, they teach you some of it, but they don't go in depth. Because they want to teach you how to do things cleanly, but then when you get into like, this Siri type training, that's when you get into real rat technique as far as blinding the opponent,
and
taking the
and
wind out of them.
yeah, and I mean, it's like
You know?
with any sort of fighting technique, they will they, especially in the civilian world, as much as they want to teach you, they also have to be careful because they don't know exactly why you want to learn that technique. And you can say, I want to learn it for this reason. And you may have a whole other reason that you're doing this for. So now you've learned this technique and you go out there and you hurt somebody and put somebody, not, you don't kill them, but you hurt them bad enough.
Mhm.
Now they're sitting and they find out about it. Now they're sitting there going, if I hadn't taught him, maybe this person wouldn't have suffered that, but I know when I was in the military, all of our drill instructors were ex police women. They were ex MPs. So they were like, you may end up at a duty station where it's way more men than you. And if the smart thing will do is make yourself invaluable. Be smarter, be more capable. They need to have you there, which will keep you safe. But if not, and you're too pretty, or some boy is just, off his head,
In there,
um,
enamored in the wrong way.
yeah, you need to understand some things of how to protect yourself. So whenever we had a few minutes, and it's so funny, my drill instructor, my senior drill instructor was only 2 inches taller than myself, but she used to wear her cover down so you couldn't see her eyes, and she would look down and out from under her cover and you and you're not supposed to eyeball them. It's called, So she would look at and talk to you, but you're trying to have a conversation, but you
Mhm.
can't because you can't look her in the eye, because then they're in your face. Are you eyeballing me? You eyeballing me, Private? Why are you eyeballing me? It's
No,
like,
it wouldn't be like, why are you eyeballing it? It's like, do you think I'm pretty? Is that why you watching me so intensely? You think I'm that pretty?
only the men. I've only heard male drill instructors say
I
that.
got it
I,
from both genders. When I was in
I,
the Air Force,
I
I got it from both
are
genders.
well, maybe it's different in the Air Force because in the Marines, um, our drill instructors, our DIs, we had to, from where we went, because where the women were sequestered for training, because Paris Island at
Mhm.
that time was the only place women Marines went through boot camp. And the closest barracks to us was OCS, Officers Candidate School.
Mhm.
And then the male Marine barracks were further back. But the chow hall was somewhere we all ate. And there, the male Marines barracks were closer to the chow hall. So we always had to pass by the male Marine barracks. And there would always be that one idiot who would shout something. And unbeknownst to him, these women were like vampires, scenting blood. Because the men said, woohoo, look at all them asses. Boom. 4 women Marines. And
Not just
what you
boom.
got?
It would be like by the time he realized what he said, it turns around. They're like,
Oh,
oh,
he didn't have. He would barely get the words out, and they would be on him,
mhm.
surrounding him. And we would just stand there like, and you're in a position of attention unless you're moving. So
You're
we
up there
had
like
to just.
you want to turn around and be like, get him, get him, get him, get him. I want to see how bad he gets got.
Oh, you could just hear the dude bursting into tears. They would speak very low, but what they were saying, dudes twice their size would be in tears by the time they were done. Except the funniest thing we ever had, we were going to dinner, and this guy, he had to go. I think he had to go to sick bay for something,
Mhm.
and he missed his chow time because we don't sit in the chow hall at the same time. The men have
Right.
their chow times, the women
Mhm.
have theirs. And the men get to eat chow before we do. We go after them. And this poor boy, because he had to go to this other place, he was late.
Mhm.
And his DI, they can't not feed you because that's considered torture. So, but male DIs are intense about treating the men like crap. So he said, go eat now. And he said, sir, the WM's there. He said, we don't care. Go eat now. So there, there we are, Company B. We're Company 3B.
Mhm.
And we're going through the line. And this dude is behind us. And he's trying to stay about 4 to 5 feet behind us.
Mhm.
But, and it was so funny because I was about middle of the line and one of the girls behind me is poking me. And I'm like, what? And she goes, hey, Glenn, look back there. And I turn around and it's like most of us I was like one of the shortest women. Most of the women were about 5'3", 5'5". We only had one woman who was we had 2 women. One was 5'9", one was 5'11". Everyone else was sort of low to mid 5s. And we're going, oh my God, and we're all talking, trying to keep our voices down. Sergeant Monty hears us. And the next thing is like, boom, she's in my face. What's up, hey good? I'm like, damn, why is she picking on me? It's like, ma'am, there's a man behind us. When we move, he moves. He's behind us, ma'am. He's shadowing us. We don't know why. They descend on this poor guy. And they're like all up in his face. They're under his grill. And finally word comes back because Sergeant Monty, she hits him first, then the others hit him, then she leaves and she comes back. And she says something to him. By this time, he looks like all he wants to do is curl up in a ball and cry for his mama.
I mean, at this point, because he knew what was going down. He knew what
Oh,
his DI did to him. He
and
knew. He
yeah.
knew going into this.
And the
I'm
thing
about to get.
is it was so funny. We actually ended up feeling sorry because Sergeant Monty comes and A was still going through line. So we were waiting for our chance to go in.
Mhm.
And she says, okay, Company B, come here. And she gets us off to the side. She goes, you stay right there. Dude standing there at attention. You could just see he just wants to die.
Mhm.
And it goes, this recruit was not able because of an appointment to eat with his unit. He therefore must go through the line with us. We will treat him with respect. So no pointing, no laughing. Do not talk to him. He will not talk to you. It's like, okay, fine.
Right.
This poor, he had to go. And then he had to, because usually it's all women. They had to find a table and
By
scoot us
himself.
to one end so he could eat at the other end. We felt so bad for him. And the DIs were like, don't talk to him. And
Mhm.
we were like, why? He's
Because
not
that's
doing
protocol.
anything wrong. But it was protocol. It was
That was
like, okay.
protocol.
And it was protocol. And his DI said he couldn't talk to us. So she couldn't, because that was his DI, she could not overrule him,
Mhm.
But we got in trouble the first time we had to do swim class because this dude, now understand, by the time we got to swim class, we had been there for almost 3 months. 3 months. No dating, no talking to men who didn't outrank you. And was that? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. That was
Wait,
when
wait.
we
No
out.
talking to men who did not outrank you.
Yeah, because all the men that we had any contact with were instructors.
Oh, okay. Okay. 'Cause I'm
So
about to say, okay, I'm about to say, it's like, when I was in the last basic training the first basic training that I took, I actually outranked some of the other people that were there. So that's why I was like, huh?
No, we in boot camp we're all privates, or back actually we're not even privates. We're recruits. They call us recruits. You do
Well,
not become a you.
if you come directly off of the bus
Yeah,
without having any
you
other
don't
training.
get to be you don't get to be a private until graduation when you're given your actual chevrons to wear
See,
and
when I
whatnot. So
went
I
to
was a PFC. I was a PFC going in because I worked recruiting command before I went in, and they promoted me to a PFC because part of my job was teaching guys how to pass the ASVAB and dealing with parents who would show up to recruiting offices going that their son had been gone for 6 months since graduating boot camp and had not written them. And I had to explain to them, and help them get in touch with the Red Cross to find their sons and whatnot. It was like I became the parent liaison. So they were like, you know what? We're going to go ahead and promote you before you even start boot camp. And but you
so
don't
you
get
had a
that until
similar
almost
experience to
in.
me then. So
But
so
our
your experience was similar to mine.
but our first morning of when we were out in the field for ICT, individual combat training, we were the first women Marines after World War II to have ICT training.
Oh
They
wow.
had barred women Marines from having it. I wasn't allowed. I hit my target on the when we were on the rifle range. I hit my target 8 out of 10 times near the bullseye. Now, technically, if I was a man, they would have sent
Sharpshooter.
me.
You
They
should
would
be
have. They'd have
sharpshooter.
sent me to snipe. They would have sent me to sniper school. But because I was a woman, I couldn't go to sniper school.
That's because of the rules back then. That's only because of the rules back then. Because again,
But
women can't be on the battle on the actual theater. Therefore, sniping was not a
yeah,
valid avenue for you because they
but
couldn't put you in a war situation.
yet
Nah.
I was in a tactical company.
Mhm.
So, but we, our first day, we had to get up at 2 in the morning, get all our gear, and they had the Alice packs. I don't know if you know what an Alice pack is.
Mhm.
So I got my Alice pack in. We had to hump. I think it was 7 or 8 miles to the bivouac. And then we get to bivouac. They let us take our Alice's off. And it's like, okay, now we have to go over here another half mile. And we're like, what? We just humped all this. Nope, we got to go hump some more
Yep.
because we have your
Drop the
first,
weight. Keep going.
and we had our first class. And this guy, he he was a Southern gentleman. He was tall and gorgeous. He had a voice like Jimmy Carter. And he was nicely put together. And we were tired. We were hungry. And we hadn't seen a man, and we hadn't been that close to a man in over 3 months. And so the sun is coming up because this class started about 6:30, and it was our first class. It was on hand grenades and other pyrotechnics. And he's explaining hand grenades, except we weren't paying attention to his talk. We were looking at this area just below his navel because he was a healthy gentleman. And we were all looking we were just sitting there like, and at one point he stops. He goes, wow, you're a very attentive bunch. I'm enjoying this. And then Sergeant Monty comes and she says something to him, and he looks down. And you know how you men are. You when you get flustered, certain things just get even more visible.
Mhm.
And the more visible he got, the more we were like, yeah, yeah. She
That
made
guy
it.
probably got raped 50 billion times just by that one troop. Wow.
Sergeant Monty and them made us get up, march to this little patch of dirt, right next to where we were sitting, and we did jumping jacks for 30 minutes. She says, now if you work that out of your system, sit your butts back down. It took him
Wow,
an
so she went old school Southern on you guys. It's like, go do some jumping jacks. It's like 30 minutes.
you
Now
need
go sit
to
down. Are you still thinking about it? Okay, let's come back out. Now y'all about to do push-ups for 30 minutes. Is it out your system now? Nope. Okay, we gotta do some more.
it was 2 hours before we got back to that class.
Mm-hmm. She went old school
Oh
Southern.
my goodness.
That's how they used to work at make dudes work out till they have no more inclination of
We
something
were
like that.
doing
So your DI did the female version of that to you guys. I'm like, nope, keep going. Yeah, I got
and it's like and we heard the guy, because I guess there was another guy who was with him, and you could hear the other guy laughing. Goes, geez, maybe we should start putting saltpeter in the women's food as well. Because they had the old joke about putting saltpeter in the men's food.
Mhm.
And it was like he came back and his face was still red, And
Mhm.
when he came back, the DIs were like, look at the sky. So we all had to sit through this class staring up at the sky. Because
It's like, and you have to try to answer a question just like this. You can't see the board. You have to be like this. And it's like you just have to be. It's like, wow. It's a messed up feeling, but yeah, I have actually sat through classes where there are people who did exactly that
we
with
were,
certain instructors.
it
Now,
was so
mind you, when I was in the Air Force, you dealt with NCOs. I had to deal with actual COs, commanding officers. So we
well,
dealt with captains, lieutenants, colonels, and there was like a couple of if I could say female captains that if they came around, some of the dudes just could not
we
keep it.
had worse, because we were the first women Marines to go through combat training. We were the
Mhm.
first women Marines allowed back on the rifle range. All these reporters and congressmen and senators wanted to come look at us. And I got in trouble because at that point, when we were given our rifles, when we knew we had people coming, we had to chain our rifles to the end of the bunks so
Mhm.
nobody could take them. And this dude, he was some sort of a mucky muck. I never found out. He was shaking the rifles, and me and my bunkie were both on guard duty. And like I know, there is a law about not letting people touch firearms who are
Mhm.
not authorized to touch the firearms. And yes, our rifles are not loaded, but you're still not supposed to put your hands on them. And this dude was walking around shaking them and whatnot. So I just decided, okay, you know what? You have pushed me as far as you're going to push me. So I walked over, said, excuse me, sir, lifted his ass and moved him. And then went back to my post next to my bunkie. He then ran and got Sergeant Monty
Mhm.
and this female captain and a male colonel and brought them over. I guess he was going to get me seriously bitched out. So I'm standing there at attention,
Mhm.
and Sergeant Monty says, this gentleman says you laid hands on him. And I said, yes, ma'am, I did. And she said, why, Haygood, did
Mhm.
you put your hands on this man? And I said, ma'am, according to the Uniform Code of Military Justice. And I started giving all the citations. I said, no one who is not authorized to put their hands upon a weapon may do so without
Mhm.
being in the presence of somebody who is authorized to touch that weapon, who outranks me. I said, ma'am, no one was with this gentleman. He was grabbing at the he was grabbing at our firearms. He was pulling and shaking them like he was trying to get them off the box. I do not know who this gentleman is, but I do know he was presenting himself as a clear and present danger. I had two choices, ma'am. I could either remove him for this situation and therefore spare his life, or I could simply break his neck and leave his damn carcass on the floor for someone to clean up. And all the all of the officers started giggling.
Mm-hmm.
He got red in the face. And the colonel looked at him and said, "Did you put your hand on that weapon?" And they called my bunkie over and asked, "Did this man put his hand on the weapon?" Because yes, he was grabbing them by the stocks and shaking them and grabbing the barrels and trying to and pulling on the chains. And it was like, "Oh, did we not make it clear in the briefing prior to coming into this room that you are not supposed to touch anything?" And the guy kind of went red in the face, and he was like, "Well, I want to bring her up on assault." And they were looking at him like, "Where are you wounded?" And he was like, "Well, okay, I'm not wounded." It's like, "What did you?" Because he tried to make it out like I was assaulting.
Like you
him.
hit him. Again, there was no striking, there was no blows. You just.
In fact, they said, "What did you do?" And I said, "May I demonstrate?" And they said, "Sure." And I went and I grabbed him, picked him up, and moved him again.
Mm-hmm.
Once they all stopped laughing, it was like, "Okay, are you hurt? Are you bruised? Are you bleeding?" "No." "Therefore, you are not assaulted. She moved you out of a situation to save your life because she is authorized under the 7 rules for deadly force not to kill you, but to injure you seriously." So she was being nice. But they followed us through ICT. I remember I don't know if you guys do in the Air Force, they have that thing where you go through the obstacle course.
Yeah, we had different obstacle course that we had to go through.
I still have the scar on my wrist where I got cut open by barbed wire.
Oh, okay. You did the under the mud, go up, over,
through, and then and the last thing is you have to go over that log, over the mud to get to the other side, and you're done.
See, our last thing was you have to go up under this low hanging log, and a lot of times you have the DIs that's there. Every so often they'll come on top of it and stomp or stand on it, which means that now you have to like come back, dig, and then come back up under.
No, we had to go over it. The thing
they
is,
made us go under. I don't know why. They made us go under.
the Congress people and muckety mucks didn't, because usually when the men do it, you have explosions going off while you're doing all of that, because it's supposed to see not only how well you can manage this course, but how well you can manage the course under pressure. Well, the muckety mucks were like, "Oh, we can't stand to see. What if one of those women get hurt?" So instead of explosions, we had a lot of high-ranked staff NCOs, gunnery sergeants and whatnot, standing on the sidelines going, boom, bang, kaboom, bang. Because they were, you can tell these guys are not happy with this.
No, I could see the NCOs being so annoyed with the mucky mucks, and they just probably just staying there, just like all like arms folded and whatnot. Boom.
And it was so funny because we did.
Boom.
Yeah, they were going boom. They would be standing there, and every once in a while, and they wouldn't yell it. They would just go boom. Someone else would go bang, kaboom, pow, yee, boom.
Just the fact that they had to do that. It's like, we got the real thing, the real deal. It's like, we don't want them to get hurt. And they probably looked at them like,
And it's so funny because I finish it and one of my buddies goes, "Hey, good, look at your hand." And I lift my arm up and I've got blood. You know? I think some congressman must have fainted. You know, and I go to it's like, "I've got blood, ma'am. What do I do?" She's like, "Well, do you want to keep bleeding?" "No, ma'am." "Well, then I suggest you go clean it off and go find a bandage." "Yes, ma'am."
you owe me a rectangle.
Ractigino. Oh my goodness. But it was I failed my swimming test because I can't swim worth crap. And
Well, that was one thing that was never a pass fail where I was in. I had to take remedial swimming because again, don't swim.
well, this
People
isn't
got
swimming.
mad. My unit got mad at me for one reason and one reason only. I was 2 shots away from being a sharpshooter with my M16,
Okay.
but I failed with my sidearm. And they
Oh,
were all
okay.
looking at me. It's like, how come you shoot well with a rifle and you can't shoot worth crap with a regular pistol? It's like, this thing is too light. Everything that I
Well,
shot before was rifle size. This is too light. It's too light. Move.
also it's also really hard because it's lightweight. The sight is not as sure. It's not that sight on most of those 45s weren't really good. So, you really, I was lucky. RDIs before we went on the rifle range were like, okay, we're going to give you a hint. Think about your height. Think about the height of an average man. The D targets are put at the height of about an average man. If you think about the middle of the height of an average man, you'll hit the target. You may not hit the bullseye, but you will definitely hit the target. I got in trouble because I shot my target twice on the head. It's like, well, I want to see if I can shoot somebody in the head. Bang, bang. Okay. I actually got shot at. Well, because they break you into 2 units. There are the people who are shooting, and then there are people who are pulling the tag, the targets.
Mhm.
When I was pulling the targets, they give you these sticks with a disc on it, and it's red
Mhm.
on one side and white on the other. Red is you hit the target, white is you missed.
Right.
And you don't know who's firing at the target that you're pulling. You're just pulling the target. Pull, let them know what you did, go. And I guess I must have pissed off the person because she missed the target. I mean, she missed the target by a mile.
Right.
So I put up the stick and you have to wave it. She shot the stick.
Bing!
So I'm holding on. I'm like, holy crap.
No, the reason I'm laughing because the range that I would have been, it's like that would have happened because it's like we didn't have like manual people back there doing that. But if they kept firing, you don't want to know what happens afterwards. You're getting beat down because when it's ceasefire, it's ceasefire. They don't play.
But it was like, oh my God, she had it in for me because
Right.
I said she missed. It's like, okay. But the thing is, a rifle is a lot easier also because when you're doing a rifle range, you're either in sitting position, which is the best position for if you're firing, one of the best positions. Standing is one of the most difficult because
Standing is difficult.
because
Prone
you're
is
moving.
easier.
The
Prone
terrain
is
is
so much easier.
prone is the best position. Sitting is somewhere in between. When you're on the rifle range, I think I did half of it sitting and half of it in prone, and I was
Right.
getting my shots in.
See, I had to do all 3. I had to do all 3, and we had to do all 3 with the 45.
No, we only had to do the M16s. They did not give us sidearms. Do you
We
know
had
that?
both. We had both the M16 and the sidearm. And if it wasn't for prone, I probably would not have even done even where near close to passing with the sidearm if it wasn't for prone.
Do you know the you ever see female Marines in full dress uniform?
Mhm.
That purse. One of the reasons we have the purses is because they're made to conceal our sidearms.
Right. Hmm.
Unless you're on guard duty, you if you're and we found this because she said if you ever go on embassy duty, you'll have to keep your sidearm in your purse because one of the things that women Marines have to take is etiquette class. Because they would, and we would say, well, why are we taking etiquette? Most of us are going, are doing slug jobs. And she said, no, you never know when you may have a job that requires you to be in an embassy.
Hmm.
And you have to know what fork, what spoon, whatever, because you never know what your duty station may be. And you never know what might be required of you. So, along with all of the other courses we had to take courses in etiquette, we had to take courses in makeup, how to properly set up your uniform. There's a lot of courses that women Marines take on top of all the other courses that we take.
Where back then, well, I should say back then, a little bit before my time when I went in, the only way men took that is unless they was like color guard.
Ah, okay.
And that's the difference here because if you took color guard, then you have to learn all of the etiquette. You have to learn the differences between dress and parade dress.
Yeah,
Because color guard is 9 times out of 10 you're more in parade dress than regular dress.
yeah. But it was. Oh shoot, my headphones are dying.
Well,
Keep
well,
doing
we're over the 2 hour mark anyway, so it's
Oh my
time to
goodness.
it's time to close it up anyway. If the headphones are dying, but we like I said, comic book spectrum is full of everything. We get it's very rare that we talk military like this.
Sorry,
It's really
guys.
no. I believe they enjoyed it to a greater degree.
Is there anybody
But
actually here?
yeah, there's another person that's still watching and everything. Again, people once we get into 2 hours, most people drop off anyway because we normally are about like trying not to go over 2 hours here. But before we go, I do have to make mention of something that you probably didn't know here. And that one thing that you probably didn't know is that this show is actually sponsored by Plasma Fire Graphics. Why Plasma Fire Graphics? Because Jeffrey Hayes, the owner, is an award-winning cover artist. He has won several Pope Factory awards and everything to that magnitude, and he would like to have your business. So if like for like your book, you might want to like to have graphics like this. So if you give this video a quick little gander, we'll see what you can see what he does for people that we know.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now, it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
See, Elaine, great prices and great graphics. That's what you get from Jeffrey Hayes right there.
Okie dokie.
So pretty much, I guess you will definitely be back with Comic Book Spectrum, but where can people find you at?
Okay. You can find me at Facebook, Elaine Haygood. You can find me at Twitter, which is at LensCapper1.
Mhm.
You can find me on Pinterest, and I'm trying to think. Oh, LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, Elaine Haygood. So,
All right. And I will be back here Saturday. Let's see. I have to remember my schedule. The reason I say I have to remember my schedule because in the month of June, we're having 2 whatnot sales, but one of the from the Decimal Small Press Publisher, we're going to bring back Michael Oden, and he's going to
Ooh.
be on here talking about the re-release of The Embrace, which is one of his graphic novels, and it's being re-released with new edits and everything to that magnitude. And we're going to be talking about his success in publishing and the fact that if you remember, I had him on before talking about The Embrace, and The Embrace is a very special story because he wrote that during a time where he was fighting for his son.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of like a calling card that he wrote for his son. So it's going to be an interesting catch up type scenario here. But I try and remember. I don't think it's this week, or it might be this week. It's either this week or the 13th.
Well,
That's
let
the
me
reason why.
know because I
That's the reason why.
know.
That's the reason why I was bringing that up because I was like, I don't know my schedule as well as I thought it was because this weekend starts June. By the way,
Okay.
it's the
Yes.
first Saturday is the 1st of June, so it's like, oh, we're in June. It's like, did I say on the 1st or did I tell on the 13th?
Yeah, because Clyde was gone this week. Eric is gone next week.
Next week. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So if you don't need me next week, just let me know. Or if you need me, send
No,
me
if
the
you
link
want to
and
be
I'll be
here
there.
next week, come on next week. We could talk
Okay.
about cartoons. Because again, the major thing here is like I'm trying to get Eric and Clyde together because we want to have this one big cartoon powwow because we were talking about all these different cartoons that we grew up with, but we never
Ooh.
really get into depth with it, in depth as far as what was good, what was bad about them and everything. We would always get into the outskirts and then we get back into comics, but we're going to
Okay.
have a dedicated cartoon show soon.
Okay. Well, my headphones are dying, so I've
Oh,
got to go.
we're about to say adios right about now here. I changed it up the intro because normally you'd be like you would be off the screen and be like, okay, as we always say, yada yada yada. So I'm going to say I'm going to have you here when I normally say it's like even though I'm not Brian K. Morris, I don't care if you wash your hands because normally he would say this during the pandemic time. Don't care if you wash your hands, but never, and I do mean never, apologize for being awesome. And as I always say, live life, grow, and be well. And we're out of here until next Thursday. So you can catch us right here on Comic Book Spectrum. Wow. And hopefully,
Bye.
Elaine might be here long enough where she could be the 6th person in the graphic. if that comes to be.
Okay.
So bye everybody.